welcome to the show! I'm Wolfie Bane, your host for today, and we are back playing a bit of Tier List Maker, where we're doing another Pokemon type tier list of my extremely biased opinion as a mainly dragon type trainer. I do like a lot of other types of Pokemon, I like a lot of Pokemon, so why not do a list of my favorites, right? Howdy, have a fantastic day, fantastic evening, and a fantastic life right now. Hey everybody, I'm back. I'm here ready to play some video games, or ready to guess, make a tier list today. Hi! First of all, apologies for not streaming for the last couple of days, for not streaming Thursday. Something real important came up, and I just wasn't able to, due to just various bits and pieces. And on Friday, as I posted as the title, Chris, the GM for Altera, had a migraine when he woke up and just was taking the day to just chill, honestly. And I go, you know what, mate? Yeah, fair enough. Take care of yourself first, right? So, yeah, those are the reasons that, that's the reason, basically. I haven't been streaming for the past couple of days. For the past couple of days, which normally would be. But the Steel Type tier list is up on YouTube as of today, so go check that out again. It was a very good time. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, now then, we're doing Dark types today, and as you can see, there's quite a lot of Dark types. I managed to find a tier list. This one needed to be heavily edited, this tier list, but I believe it has every single Dark type Pokemon on it. To my eye, at least. It has the G-Maxes, and it has the Megas as well. But this one actually doesn't have Arceus or, Silverleaf this time. Which, you know what, I'm fine with, because as I said, they're always going to be just the same tier, because they're all fine. I'm not crazy about any of them, but I don't hate any of them either, so, you know what it is. It is what it is, as they say. But, we're going to have a good time. So, first of all, we are going to be starting off very poorly. So, well, to be fair. Oh yeah, I will also explain the tier names. So, the tier names for today are as follows. I've named them all after villains from various media. And instead of putting them in favorites list, because honestly, I like all 5 of these villains, I decided to put them in how competent they are at being a villain. Now, I will 100% say you could definitely make some arguments about the top spot one, but because of certain things he did, like not having things at Mount Doom and things, not having guards at Mount Doom and stuff. But remember, a lot of the creatures are, a lot of his minions are evil little shits who would betray him if they weren't more scared of him. So, yeah, just think about it that way. Would you trust orcs to guard it? No. But yeah, S tier, we are naming it Sauron tier, the Dark Lord himself, the absolute beast. Very, very cool. One of my favorite villains in media. And one of my favorites to begin with an S. I was debating Saruman as well, because Christopher Lee. But, yeah, I've always had a preference for Sauron. And Sauron's a very, very cool baddie. I was literally debating, A tier, okay, so here's a bit of one. I nearly put my favorite there was a couple of A-named villains, which I nearly put here, but I was literally going, well, I like those about as much as Sauron, so I didn't want to put them, because I didn't want to put anyone who I liked more, who I actively liked more, in a tier. Now, for reference, Agent Smith, amazing villain, like, absolutely amazing. I like him almost as much as Sauron. Like, those two are comparable, but Agent Smith goes slightly below. But very fantastic, and it's mostly because of the later movie. It's because of, it gets a bit weird in 3. And he has some weird choices. But he is a very cool baddie. Definitely Matrix 1. Like, are you kidding me? Agent Smith's awesome. Hugo Weaving, king of the nerds. B is Bowser. Yeah, again, like, I think middlingly competent. Like, he's pretty competent, but he's not super competent. He's also pretty chill. Captain Hook. I will say, once again, C tier is going to be my average for this one. And it's Captain Hook. He's got some competency. He's got some awful lack because his entire plan is derailed by a normal crocodile. Unless you see certain movies. This is specifically Disney's Captain Hook, for reference. Not any of the other ones where they make him either way more terrifying or outmatched by way more overpowered things, because Peter Pan is like a fucking god, and the crocodiles are Dinosuchus and things like that. And finally, I love this villain so much, but my god is he incompetent. Dick Dastardly. If you know who Dick Dastardly is, I salute you, and I'm also sorry that you're old like me. But yeah, Dick Dastardly from Wacky Racers, the villain who would have won pretty much every time, because in every single episode of Wacky Racers, also Catch a Pigeon, he gets massively far ahead of everybody else by driving, and then stops and waits for them all to catch up, because he sets a trap to be evil. When, if he just kept going, he would win. Every time. Not even close. So yeah. That is the tiers. It is competency of evil, and also sort of favorites. But I do like every one of those 5 villains, I will say. So, we're not starting off strong, are we? This is quite amazing to me how many regional forms are dark types. What was a surprising thing to find out. Or to, like, just realize, really. But I'm a big fan, personally. Particularly Kanto. Like, Jesus Christ, there's what, 7 regional Kanto Pokemon that are dark types? It's kind of telling, right? But yeah, first of all, we've got Alolan Rattata. Now, Alolan Rattata, I genuinely don't mind Alolan Rattata. I think it's fine. That's what it is. It's fine. It's not really an upgrade. It's not really a downgrade on regular Rattata. It's just alright. I think it ends up being like slight downgrade to Rattata, but it's not awful. So, and I quite like its design. It's kind of cool. I've never used this thing, and I probably never will. So, mostly indifferent. But I'll put you at C tier. I don't think it's bad necessarily. And let me tell you, there's going to be some bad ones on this list. Dark type, even more than the previous types. As I was saying, the previous types have been very feast or famine. With fire and steel type. Not really dragon type, because everything's great in dragon type. And I love them all. But in dark type, there's some Pokemon I absolutely despise. Or there's Pokemon I really like. And that's basically, the good massively outweighs the bad. It's why dark type is my 4th favorite type. Because as much as I absolutely adore a lot of them, also I love using dark types. I love the anti-psychic stuff. Just having access to like ancient tanks. The psychic shenanigans is always nice. Particularly since psychic strategy is usually very, very strong. Like usually you've got like a plan and a setup with psychic types that rely heavily on their psychic type to pull off the big part of it. Having a dark type just completely shuts that entire plan down, and usually they have to go, basically usually buckles their team. Like one dark type quite often can completely buckle a well thought out psychic plan, like expanding force strats and things like that. You know, to the point that in the draft league, someone actually had an expanding force strat. They knew they were going to, when they knew they were going to against me, they had to completely change their entire plan from what they've been doing in most games, because they could not do that strategy with a Tyranitar. They just couldn't. So, and like Tyranitar was literally the perfect counter to that entire strategy, because they were doing the strategy with Ceruledge. And T-Tar is a massively powerful sandstorming Pokemon with Dark type and Rock type, which which immunes the Psychic Stab from Ceruledge and resists the Fire Stab. And it's got a massive amount of bulk, so it can just tank the hit. So yeah, he had to completely switch up his strategy for it, which was very fun. But yes. Anyway, let's continue. So, Alolan Raticate, however. As much as I think Alolan Rattata is fine, I think Alolan Raticate is a massive downgrade. Yep, I know they're your favourites. That's what I said. Definitely tune in this week. I really dislike Alolan Raticate. I think it's a massive downgrade in design. I actually quite like normal Raticate. I've never really used it. But I like its design, kind of. It is just big, scary rat. And it's got the gut strategies and stuff like that. I don't like the puffy cheeks version. It looks like it's been stung by a wasp. So, I'm sorry, Alolan Raticate. You're going into Dick Dastardly tier. I am not a fan of you. And I'll put this out right nowadays, just straight up. Alolan Meowth and Alolan Persian. Yeah, you're also going in this tier. Alolan Persian is going below Alolan Rat. Okay, Alolan Meowth's going above it because I dislike Alolan Meowth. Hey, nice, shiny Bidoof, shiny god. But yeah, I've said I don't like Alolan Meowth. I think it's the worst Meowth. But I really dislike Alolan Persian. Alolan Persian, it might be my least favorite dark type. It's up there. Is there anyone who compares to it in terms of how meta it is? Actually, no, there's something. Yeah, there's something comparable, but it's close. I don't know which one is my least favorite, but it's definitely one of my 3 least favorite dark types. I really dislike it. I've never liked it. Oh, Gastrodon's amazing. Gastrodon is amazing. People sleep on Gastrodon. Anyone who's fought Cynthia should know how powerful a Gastrodon could potentially be. Yeah, I love that Pokemon. Gastrodon's great. It's a Pokemon that, in hindsight, in my draft league team, the original one, I probably could have put in instead of Hippowdon for my team. Hippowdon was just kind of there. It did some work occasionally, but mostly it was just kind of there and didn't really do a lot. So, Gastrodon, I think, would have done a lot better. But, the Storm Drain, mostly. But I also love Gastrodon. Gastrodon's a great Pokemon. Now we're going to go to Pokemon I actually like. Alolan Grimer, I like Alolan Grimer. Mr. Shine, as everyone knows, early on in my playthrough of Ultra Sun, which we will be actually, no, we won't be continuing this week because it's my birthday on Thursday. So I'm actually going out to dinner with my family. So there will not be a stream on Thursday, just as a heads up. But yeah, I genuinely like Alolan Grimer. I'm not a huge fan of normal Grimer, but Alolan Grimer, it has more personality, it's a better design. I love the vibe. I like the Alolan ones. I don't like the normal ones particularly, but I like the Alolan ones. So a normal Alolan Grimer is going in B tier. I think it's solid. I think it's a good upgrade on the design. It's very good, is the main bit, right? Alolan Muck, you get A tier. Genuinely. It's a low A tier, I will say. But I like it. I love Poison Dark type as a type. It's a great type. It's really solidly bulky. It does a surprising amount of damage. I genuinely like this Pokemon a lot. Oh, yeah. The tier names are obviously their villains in competency order. So S tier is Sauron, A tier is Agent Smith, B tier is Bowser, C tier is Captain Hook, and D tier is Dick Dastardly. Because as much as I like Dick Dastardly, if the dude just played legit, he'd win Wacky Races every single time, because he always gets way far ahead of everybody. And then stops and waits for them to do a trap. Dude, just win! Just win the race, you're in a rocket car! I've got to find something thematic, right? In fact, and villains feels like a good one for the dark types. Now, Mega Gyarados. Mega Gyarados. Okay. Ooh, are you S tier or are you A tier? I like Gyarados a lot. Gyarados, my second favorite Gen 1 water type. He probably is. I genuinely think he probably is. I really like Gyarados a lot. Yeah, fuck it. I love him. I need to use him again. I was even literally thinking I need to use Gyarados again. I also like Mega Gyarados. Mega Gyarados is another one that makes sense. The flying type never made sense on Gyarados. Let's face it, he should have been Dragon type, but they didn't make Dragon until later on in the tier. Later on in the original game. Giant Dragon Shrimp. It's the Sea Serpent. That's a big one for me. He is the Sea Serpent. And I'm a big fan. He's also the most reliable Nuzlocke Pokemon of all time. Like, he's in every single game. Gyarados is just a good Pokemon for Nuzlocking it. He's great. I love him. He's a powerhouse. He's always like, if you don't know what else to put on your team, He's got good everything. Like, the only thing he's got bad is special attack. And he's a physical attacker, because he's got monstrous physical attack, so it's fine. There's nothing bad about Gyarados. Literally nothing. He's not got many weaknesses. He's got 2 weaknesses. One's a quad weakness, admittedly, with his electric, but... As I've said before, electric types... I'm not a huge fan of electric types generally, and I run a lot of ground types. So it's actually kind of fine running a Gyarados in my team, because... Oh, I know they're going to go for an electric move. Swap in a ground type. Like my Garchomp. But yeah. I really like Gyarados. Gyarados is great. I do still think they need to nerf water type a little bit. I think it needs an extra weakness on it. But Gyarados is a fantastic Pokemon, and yeah, absolute winner. I could tell it fly. Now it's he can't get fly, I don't think, actually. He gets bounce. But no, you don't need Aqua Tail. There's better than Aqua Tail. Give him Waterfall. Or Liquidation. Waterfall or Liquidation's the Gyarados one. Waterfall with its 80 power and flinch chance with 100% accuracy. Or I believe Liquidation is also 80 power with a chance of defense drop. Like, I think you could go either way on it. Genuinely, they're both good. But yeah, love Gyarados. Love him. Unfortunately for Gyarados, his top spot for the top of S tier is very short-lived. Because... God, Aqua Step Gyarados. I wonder if Gyarados gets Aqua Step in Poké Rogue. That'd be kind of cool. That egg move, Aqua Step. I could see that being his top tier move. Yeah, or Jet Punch. Don't know how he'd punch, but... But yeah, we are putting you right to the top. I love Galarian Moltres. Galarian Moltres, my favourite of the legendary birds. Of the lot, literally. I love its design. It's such an upgrade of a Moltres. I think Moltres' main downside is I think it has a pretty weak design. Right? I think it's a good Pokemon, kind of weak design. Galarian Moltres, one of the best designs in Pokemon. It's amazingly good in battle. It's a Berserk Pokemon, which I always love. Oh, I have a normal Moltres. I have a normal Moltres with Torch Song in Poké Rogue. But I need a Galarian Moltres. I have the other 2 Galarian birds. I don't have Moltres, and Moltres is my favorite. Moltres was one of my dark types of choice playing in UU on Pokemon Showdown before it got banned. Because it's a very powerful. Dark Flying is an obscenely good combo as well. I also say Gyarados' change to Water Dark is a big, like, yes, it makes a lot of sense. He's got all the biting moves. Yeah. But yeah, I love using Galarian Moltres so much. It's a phenomenal Pokemon. It just works great. It's my favorite Berserk Pokemon. Berserk's a really cool ability, for reference. Berserk is basically, if the Pokemon hits half health, it gets a special attack buff, right? It gains +1 stage special attack. But, with Galarian, the thing is about it, it's every time it hits half health, it gets the special attack buff. So what you do with Galarian Moltres, it's pretty tanky. Like, it's just tanky enough that it can always trigger it, basically. From pretty much any Pokemon. It's very rare you don't get to comfortably say, survive 1 super effective hit. Because it's got surprisingly good bulk. Provided it's not getting hit by something obscene, like a freaking, I don't know, Koraidon, I guess, or something, like, really powerful, like a Gardevoir, like, kind of hit. It probably wouldn't survive, like a Moonblast from a Gardevoir. But it survives a lot that you wouldn't expect it to. And you give it a Citrus Berry, so it gets its Berserk buff. Then the Citrus Berry heals it, so then so it's above half health, usually. Meaning that it can get the Berserk buff twice. Oh, Sneasel is really far ahead of Weavile, because Sneasel was a Gen 2 Pokemon. Weavile's a Gen 4 evolution. Weavile is one of the ones that got added later on, with the Magmortar and Electivire and all that stuff. Yeah, it's in Gen Order. It's why all these ones are in Gen 1, because they're technically Kanto Pokemon that got reforms into it, but they've still got the same Pokedex entry. Do we really need to talk about Umbreon? We know where Umbreon's going. It's going in S tier. You all know it. I love Umbreon. Not one of my favorite evolutions to use, but its design, great Pokemon. Absolute amazing tank. I I just don't use it that often because I'm not usually a user of pure tank Pokemon like Umbreon. Glaceon's my favorite. It's probably Glaceon, Glaceon, then Leafeon or Vaporeon, and then the other one of them. Then Espeon. Then probably Umbreon. Umbreon and Sylveon, again, both pretty close together as well. Jolteon's my least favorite. And Flareon, I love the Pokemon, but it's really bad, so it loses a lot to the others. Yeah. One second. So I'm stuck in my teeth. But yeah, I love Umbreon. It's a great Pokemon. It deserves S tier. It's not going to be one of the highest S tiers, but it absolutely deserves S tier. I have no question about that. I also really enjoyed using it in my Pokemon Poke MMO run of Gen 5 of Black and White. Because I made my starter an Eevee. I was going for Espeon, end up with an Umbreon instead. Because of just timing, basically. I literally just got the level, just got its friendship up, when it just switched over to nighttime, so I ended up getting the Umbreon instead, which was very unfortunate. But I still love Umbreon. And hey, the thing did work. So, yeah. Big props for Umbreon. Great Pokemon. Great, great, great Pokemon. Murkrow? Okay. I have a weird feeling about Murkrow. So Murkrow is kind of alright Pokemon, right? It's an okay Pokemon. I'd probably give it B tier, just on its own, right? However, Murkrow has something very special for me. It holds a special place. Because Murkrow is my first ever shiny Pokemon, was Murkrow. I literally saw one, my first ever shiny. It was a Scarlet and Violet, I remember it. I was playing, like, late at night, on, like, day... I think it was generally day 1. Like, I was just chilling, playing through, going in the, God. It was the town near the Cloth in Pokemon Scarlet Violet, like the end of the canyon. And I literally went, that's a shiny. My first ever one, I was so happy. So, Murkrow goes up 1 tier just for being my original shiny Pokemon, and I've got a soft spot for it. So, thank you, Murkrow. You're a great Pokemon. You're really good as well, because you got Prankster. You're also a Dark Flame, which I've always said is good. God. To be fair, I'd probably be okay with that. I have Raging Bolt. I do have a Raging Bolt. So, I'd probably be alright. I'd definitely start with that. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of electric types. Ooh, legendaries only would be fun. I actually have 2 shiny legendaries now. I have my shiny Glastrier and my shiny Mesprit. Which are both very cool. But yeah, Murkrow gets to that tier. So, Hisuian Quillfish. I think Hisuian Quillfish is a massive upgrade over Quillfish. I think Quillfish was kind of bad. I like Pufferfish as much as the next guy, but... Hey, they're great. Latios is amazing, Suicune's great, and Kyogre's obviously obscenely good. Yeah, I like Hisuian Quillfish. I don't like it enough to really put it super high tier, but I do like it. Mostly, I really like Overquill. Overquill is getting a higher tier than this when we eventually get to it, which is down here somewhere. There it is. Yeah. But, you're pretty cool. I kind of dig it. So, we are going to give you... Yeah, let's give you B tier. I think I prefer Grimer to it, though. It is good. Hisuian Quillfish is very good. Yeah. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Sneasel. I really like Sneasel. A tier. Easy A tier. I'm a big fan of ice types as well. So, it's very fast. It's a fast ice dark type. which I really like. It's a good physical attacker. I have used it and had a lot of good success with it. Two favorite types for you. Hey, it's a good shout. They're both very cool. And I say, I love Sneasel and Weavile. I think Weavile's design isn't as great as it could be. Literally, it's just the hat fan. Everything else about Weavile, peak. But the hat fan loses at some points. It's probably going to get A tier, but that's the only reason. It could have better design, but 90% of its design is brilliant. So. I'm expecting it to get a Mega, actually. Though I could see it not because they just gave it a regional variant in Legends Arceus. That's the only reason I could see it not getting a Mega, but I think it should have a Mega. It's a very Megaable Pokemon. It's also just a very good Pokemon. To be honest, I believe it's OU tier, still. Well, the thing is, Weavile's significantly better than Sharpedo. Like, Weavile for a while was the only good Ice-type Pokemon. Like, the only one. So, it's kind of telling, right? They've made lots of good ones since, but... Originally, Weavile was the only good Ice-type. Actually, it was Weavile and Frostlass. Weavile and Frostlass. Actually, was Frostlass Gen 5? Or Gen 4? It's Gen 4, yeah. Those two are both pretty good. But that was like it. And they were only good because they're fast. As well. So. They realized that offensive Ice type is the way to go. Same with rock types. Like, they made the good rock types. It took them literally until Gen 9 to make a good defensive rock type. But they made a couple of, like, offensively good ones. You're gonna rage. I'm sorry, buddy. I like Absol, but it's not getting S. It's not S tier for me. Okay, Houndour and Houndoom. They're both alright. They are both fine Pokemon. I think they're both kind of alright, genuinely. I'd say they both get C tier. Like a solid C tier, though. Like, they're pretty good. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put you down. Get down a tier. Yeah, I like Mega Houndoom a lot. I like Mega Houndoom's design a lot. The proper Hellhound look works so well. So Mega Houndoom is getting up a tier. It's going into B tier. I think, yeah, I prefer it to a little Grimer. I really like the design. It's a great... Only B for me. I'm not the biggest Houndoom guy, and there's better dogs. It's one of the big ones. There are good dog Pokemon, but there's dog Pokemon I prefer to it. It's one of my least favorites of the dogs, but I do like it. So it's getting a good B. B is solid. Like, B is a good chunk above the average. Because if it's like, I kind of like it a little bit, or things like that, it goes in B. It goes in C tier. B tier is good. And I like it. A tier is I really like it. S tier is I love it. Now then. Yeah. My boy, my favorite Dark-type Pokemon. It's well known T-Tar is my favorite Dark-type. I absolutely love it. It's Godzilla. I love it. It was my second pick in the draft after Garchomp herself. What can I say? I love Tyranitar. Tyranitar was genuinely, it was one of my favorite Pokemon since childhood. I immediately liked it. As soon as I saw it for the first time, I went, this is it. This is it. For a good while, literally when Gen 2 was the only thing, like when I hadn't played a Hoenn game, right? Tyranitar was my second favorite Pokemon. When I didn't know anything about Hoenn, I technically played Fire Red, and Fire Red had a couple of Gen 2 Pokemon in it that you could get. T-Tar is the best Gen 2 Pokemon for me. It just is. And it's not close. It's genuinely not close. I fucking love Tyranitar. I love everything about it. It's a Sandstorm Pokemon, which I like running Sandstorm. I won't use it on every team because it's a Sandstorm Pokemon, because basically I will build it into the core of that team. And it's a Sandstorm team. I'm using T-Tar. I don't care if they make better Sandstorm Pokemon in the future. T-Tar is my Sandstorm Pokemon. I will constantly use it. It's almost always on my team. If I'm running that kind of strategy at all, T-Tar is on the team. You would bet it's on the team. And I fucking love it. Also, the only Rock Dart Pokemon in existence. There are no other Rock types on this list besides its Mega. That's it. It's literally the only one. Which I like, because I also like Rock types. So T-Tar is going right to the top, and it's staying there. Nothing is topping that. I love a lot of the other pseudos, like Hydreigon's on here as well, Roaring Moon's on here. It's T-Tar. I like its Mega. I think the Mega is slightly worse of a design than normal T-Tar, but the power is also very good. So you are losing a point to normal T-Tar, but I really do like it too. Mostly, honestly, I like the spikes on its back. I think that works. I don't like the horn. I think the horn really takes away from the rest of the design, unfortunately. I think if the horns were, like, slick back, like on the original one, I think it would look a lot better. Like, go more Godzilla-y with it again. I think it would be a bit better, but, yeah. I still love Mega T-Tar. The thing got me my first win in Pokerogue as well, which is also a good part for it. I always love Tyranitar. Tyranitar does exactly what I want a Pokemon to do in Pokemon. It's a giant walking indestructible brick that will beat the shit out of nearly anything that fights it. So, I love it. Poochyena. I'm sorry, Poochyena. I'm sorry, Mighty Anna. You're so bad. Okay, in terms of usability, Mighty Anna is, in my opinion, one of the worst Pokemon in existence for usability. But I like it. It's so cute. Yeah, if Mighty Anna gets an evolution, it will be so much better. The only thing it has going for it is Intimidate. You're going in C tier. Weirdly, I like its design a little bit more than Houndoom. But, god damn, you're so bad. Poochyena's going below those two. Mighty Anna, I like its design. It only needs stats. It's so bad. It's got a great moveset. It's got a really good moveset. And it's got Intimidate. It should be good, but it's so shite. It needs a third. Yeah, it absolutely needs a third. But whereas Bishop is good and needs something to make it great, Mighty Anna's shite and needs something to make it good. To make it usable. Also, a friend of mine, one of their favorite Pokemon is Mighty Anna. They are a big committer of it needs an evolution. Give it an evolution in the next game. Mighty Anna's borderline useless. The only reason it's usable in any way is that it evolves at level 18. So you can get it super early in the Hoenn games. They made it a DLC Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet, so you will not use it. They also added some of the best Dark types ever in Gen 9. Like, Gen 9 has a cracked set for Dark types. If you use against Psychic types, use anything else on this list. Genuinely. Use a Sableye, it's better. Mighty Anna has really got nothing going for it. If you need Intimidate mod, use any other Intimidate mod. If you need a Dark type, there's any other Dark type. If there's nothing else, put up with it. Use a Steel type. Steel type resists Psychic. It's so bad. It's so bad. Yeah. I like it, but it's so awful, and I would never use one. Friend of mine actually has it on his Challenger team. It's on his Challenger team in the draft league, in the gym leader tournament we're in. Which, by the way, I did another match of my gym leader tournament as the gym leader. My opponent beat me on the second attempt. I actually did stop them on the first one. Mainly because it literally came down to, how do you deal with an Archaludon at Gym 3? They did find a strategy for it, but my god. They had a right moment. This is virtually indestructible. How do I deal with it? It was very fun. Great game, Kai. Genuinely. Use bad Pokemon. I've been tempted to do that, actually. Use a bad Pokemon. The problem is I'm so bad at it. Though, to be honest, I might do that in... I'd be tempted to do that in Scarlet and Violet. Genuinely. like, do a bad Pokemon team. Just, I've done that in Pokemon Showdown. I've used only bad Pokemon. I started actually liking a few of them as well. I also attempted, I highly recommend, if you want to do runs like this as well, do them in PokeMMO. Go through PokeMMO on one character. Like, go through a bunch of them, get a lot of stuff sorted to unlock the shop. Go through one region. And then go through a future region with some weird Pokemon that you wouldn't normally use. I highly recommend it. It's good to do weird runs for that game. Okay. Now then. Straight from a terrible Pokemon, which I think is awful, to a really good redesign. One of the best redesigns in Pokemon, in my personal opinion. Galarian Zigzagoon and Galarian Linoon. These are great. Galarian Zigzagoon, I'd say a comfy B tier. Linoon, I'd say an A tier. We'll get to Obstagoon later, don't worry. Obstagoon is much later on because it actually is first appearance in Gen 8. But Obstagoon is a great Pokemon. I love this line. People know I love this line. I was never a huge Linoon fan. It was fine. But Galarian, the Galarian was such an upgrade. I love the vibe. I love that they based them on the band Kiss, which is always cool. The black and white just works. It's very English as well, because it looks like a badger. Like it's the European badger, which I also really like. It's just a great one. A dark normal. In this case also, I really like the vibe. It's like the ghost killer Pokemon, this. People know I love Obstagoon as well, so it's very, very good. I'm really looking forward to playing Pokemon Sword at some point, and genuinely, this is going to be on my team. In honesty, Obstagoon is going to be on my team. Because I'm not grabbing the DLCs, so I've got a much stricter set of Pokemon to use. Because I'm not planning on also buying like the game 3 times over. I just want to play Pokemon Sword's base game. So yeah, it's on there. I really like it, and it's going to be on my team in the game. Genuinely, I want this to come back. I really, really hope that we get a way to get Galarian Zigzagoon in more games, because I think it's a really, really cool Pokemon. And Galarian Linoon, exactly the same. Same with Obstagoon. It's a really cool Pokemon. Thank you, Game Freak, for making it, honestly. It's great. Now we go to another set of some of my least favourite Pokemon. Now, I don't care what anyone says. I will down this hill. I hate Shiftry. I hate Nuzleaf and I hate Shiftry. They're not as bad as Alolan Meowth. Right? But they're still D tier. I do not like these Pokemon. At all. Never liked them. Never will. One of the worst grass dark types. I don't like its design. It's just... I just don't like them. I know a lot of people who like them a lot. I don't. Yeah, I'm not a Naruto guy. I've seen a lot of people go like that. It's like, I never watched Naruto and I never want to. So, what can I say? I don't like Shiftry. It's just one of those weird Pokemon that I just don't like. Genuinely. I've tried using it. I didn't enjoy using it. It literally is the peak. It is literally I could literally put an example of mid. Like, it's not unusably bad, but I don't like it. And it is bad. It is bad. Not unusably so, but it is bad. So. Yeah, the fact that it's usable is what puts it at the high end of D tier, for reference. I don't like the Pokemon, but it's at least got... You aren't awfully off if you use it. For reference, you should absolutely use a Shiftry over a Matiana. Every single time. But I still think you should use anything else besides either of them. But, yeah. Particularly, in its own gen, it's outclassed by something with the same type, which we'll get to. Yeah. Sableye, I kind of like Sableye. I have a soft spot for the little bastard. It's not going to be super high up, but I have a soft spot. I say low B tier. I've got a soft spot for it. I like the Mega Sableye a bit more as well, because I love that it's just bigger rock. But I have a bit of a soft spot for Sableye. It's cute in a weird way. It's little gremlin bastard. It's got a cool vibe. It literally is the gremlin energy of Pokemon, which I think, you know what? Yeah, I get it. I get why people love Sableye. Also, used to have no weaknesses, which was always cool. There is a better one of its type, which I massively prefer, which is another reason why it's kind of low, and it's only like in low B tier. But it's got a vibe, right? Also, I highly recommend using this Pokemon. It's very, very good. Like, do a weird setup with it, where you like do support stuff with Prankster and stuff like that. It's very, very good Pokemon. So I highly recommend it for people. Okay, now I'm gonna be honest here. Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't think I know really anyone who dislikes Sableye. It's got a vibe. It definitely has a vibe. Okay, now I'm gonna be honest here, guys. I don't know why I love these Pokemon. Well, actually, correction. I know exactly why I love these Pokemon. I love piranhas and I adore sharks. Everyone knows I adore sharks. So I'm gonna go Carvana. You are an A tier, probably just behind. Probably just behind that. Yeah. Behind Diesel. I really like Carvana. It's not great, but it's definitely usable. I actually used it in my latest run of Emerald in PokeMMO. I actually used Carvana and Sharpedo. I went out of my way to. And they're great, genuinely. I had a lot of fun with them. And I love Sharpedo. I actually would say, because of my slight personal preference, I might prefer it. Because it's a shark. It gets shark bias. I love it. Usability-wise, Gyarados is way better, and Umbreon is way better. Do not get me wrong. I'm not saying Sharpedo is better. I personally like it because I have a soft spot for it. Although hidden ability Sharpedo is very, very good. Speed boost. It's a speed boost Pokemon with very high attack. Also very good special attack. Kind of wish the special attack was in its speed. Yeah. The Mega I like, but I don't like the design as much. So the design is still S tier. Also, Strongjaw Dark type. Big props for that. I think it's the only Strongjaw Dark type in existence. Or if there is more, it might be like, I think Mabostiff maybe, but I'm not 100% on that one. But I really, really like it. It's very cool. I'm a big fan, personally. Sharpedo is a great Pokemon, and I really like it. But Gyarados is just better, yeah. Which is why I'd say, literally, give Sharpedo a try in an actual playthrough. It will do work. It cannot take a hit. Make it as fast as physically possible. It's got obscenely good damage. It's got comparable attack stat, I think, to Gyarados, actually. Maybe even higher. It's never got comparable. Sharpedo has 120 attack. I think that's slightly less than Gyarados. I think Gyarados might have 130 or 125. Yeah, Gyarados has 125 attack compared to compared to Sharpedo's 120, so they're very comparable. No, I've said it for ages. If Mightyena could have Strongjaw, it would be pretty good. It would actually have damage. It doesn't. It gets Intimidate, Moxie, or something useless. I think it's Runaway. It gets Intimidate, which is a very good ability, Moxie, which is a very good ability, or something completely inane that you don't care about. If Mightyena could get Strongjaw, I actually have said for a while, I think that the evolution, if they eventually do an evolution for it, should get Strongjaw. I think it would have a niche, because you could literally give it Crunch, Scarf it, if it's got a higher attack stat, say 110, 120, something like that, and if it's kind of fast, give it a Scarf and just make it just charge in with Crunch. That's all it needs, and I think it would be pretty good. Because it would get double stab Crunch, basically. Which basically ups the power of that move to 160, which is like freaking legendary signature moves are 160. So that's good. That would be very good. Unfortunately, it doesn't, which is why it's bad. Mabostiff might, though. I'm not sure about Mabostiff. Mabostiff, no, it gets Intimidate, Guard Dog, or Stakeout. Mabostiff is basically just better Mightyena, in all honesty. Excuse me. basically, I really like Sharpedo. I always have. I highly recommend giving it a try and a run. In all seriousness, it's a glass cannon, but the cannon is very good. It gets rough skin, but it's too squishy to make use of rough skin. Really, it has no defense. You have to make it fast. But it is a very good fast Pokemon. Like 120 attack is the same as Dragapult, right? It's not bad at all. But it's not super fast. It's why it can make a lot of use out of Speed Boost. So if you get a hidden ability one for Speed Boost, like Protect one turn and you're going, right? Do the Protect so you get that first tier of Speed Boost up, and that thing is going to do a lot of work. So yeah, big props to Sharpedo. I really like it. Cacturn. This is the Pokemon I said is strictly better Shiftry. Genuinely. I also like Cacturn. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Mega Cacturn. Genuinely wouldn't. I think it would be very cool. Or an evolution for it that gives it some defense. Honestly, Cacturn's great. I think it's also pretty decent. Like, it's one of those, like, you're not upset to have this on your team. It's decent. It's got Sucker Punch. It's got good physical and good special attack, so you can kind of run it in nearly any way. It's just good. It's good. I'd put it high B, I think. I think it's a good Pokemon. Yeah, I'm okay with it, though. It is a fairly... That's why I say it's one of those Pokemon that I think if you give it something, it'll be a bit... It'll be a very, very good Pokemon. It's one of the Pokemon that I think genuinely a Mega would do it a good job, or another evolution. I could see it not getting evolution, getting a Mega, but I think it's like, it's kind of got the same, like, it's okay, and you can make it do a lot of good, but you actually have to work to make it great. But it definitely has the potential to be like that, which is fair. Same with Crawdaunt, actually. Crawdaunt is also here. I will say 100% Crawdaunt is good because of one reason. It gets adaptability. Adaptability Crawdaunt with a pretty good attack stat, it's very solid. It's literally the only thing it has going for it. It literally is the only thing it has going for it. But because it has that, it's quite powerful with that. You can make it work. I think it gets Dragon Dance as well. Like, you can do some scary things with Crawdaunt. Grass Dark types. Oh, there's better. There's a lot better. We'll get to the a lot better later. Yeah, there's one particular one. There's one particular much better Grass Dark type. It does everything Cacturn does, but better. Yeah, you can see it. It's kind of obvious on this list down here. Right there. But yeah, Crawdaunt, I quite like Crawdaunt after finding out, like, yeah, it's got a vibe. I prefer Sharpedo in its own gen, so I'm not really going to use it, but it hits very, very hard. It's quite slow, is a problem, and it got no real defense, but if you can get it to hit, it'll hit hard. So I'll put you next to Cacturn, because I think you're both pretty cool together. I could definitely see people going like a mono dark team in Gen 3 and not being crazy upset, apart from having to use a Mightyena. Because I don't think there's enough dark types without it. But I know you can get Murkrow in Gen 3. Actually, can you get Murkrow in Hoenn specifically? Probably in Pokemon at least. But I think doing a mono dark type in Pokemon Hoenn region for Emeralds would be kind of cool. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to using it in that region. Because if you don't know, me and a bunch of friends a while ago we did a monotype run in Kanto on Pokemon, and I got ground type, and a few others had it, and we all really enjoyed it. Like, it was a good time going through that game with monotype, because it's a challenging game. Is Ash Greninja on this list? Ash Greninja isn't on this list. I think it's because Ash Greninja isn't a different form of a Pokemon now. It literally is just, Battle Bond with normal Greninja. Like, normal Greninja just can get Battle Bond as one of its abilities. And, yeah, that is a vibe for it. I personally don't like it. I prefer the Protean version, honestly. But it's cool. Also, I didn't make these tier lists. The only thing I do is edit the titles and change the number. This was a weird tier list, this particular one I found. But it was one of the ones that actually had every single Pokemon on it. Because it's surprisingly hard to find that. Or one that's not been pre-done as well. Okay, Absol. Okay, here's the bit. I kind of like Absol. Yeah, it's your boy. I kind of like Absol. I don't love it, but I can't quite like it. It's got a vibe. It can do a lot of work. I've heard Mega Absol's very good. For me, it's a little too... It's a little too edge for me, personally. I think it is very cool Pokemon. It's getting A tier. Yeah. It's getting A tier, I think. I do slightly prefer the others, though. I do think that Mega is an upgrade over it as well. I kind of like the angel look for it. Yin Yang for the face. I think it's cool. It's getting A tier. But I don't love the Pokemon, but I do quite like it. I think it is very cool. I used one for a bit in my Hoenn run. My original one for Hoenn. It is a good one to do Dark type if you want to, again, play Pokemon. Mono Dark type Hoenn, you get to use it. So I don't think it's an upsetting one to use at all. And yeah. I think it is very cool. But it's not really like a me one. I will pick other Pokemon over it. But for Gen 3 Dark types, it's one of the better ones. Genuinely. It's just that my Gen 3 Dark type of choice is Sharpedo, really. So. But to be absolutely fair, in Gen 3, Sharpedo isn't my water type of choice. But it's my water type of choice until I get my water type of choice. Because my god is it hell to get my water type of choice in Gen 3. Because my water type of choice is one of my 2 favorite water types of all time. Probably my favorite still, but it's close. When we do water types, I'm going to sing her praises. Yeah. Anyway. Now we get to Honchkrow. I genuinely like Honchkrow. Yeah. I really like Honchkrow. I like its gimmick. I know it's technically a worse Pokemon competitively than Murkrow, which I find very funny. But I prefer using Honchkrow personally because I like the gimmicky crit build you can do with it. Where you have, I think it's Night Slash, Scope Lens, and Super Luck together. So give it almost 100% crit chance. Is a lot of fun to use, and I like the gimmick. So I'm going to put Honchkrow just above Murkrow in A tier. I quite like it. You got a shiny, ooh. Shiny, also, yeah, it's a great design for Pokemon. Genuinely, I like that in a bunch of remakes of Fire Red, like a lot of ROM hacks and fan makes, Giovanni has a Murkrow or Honchkrow on his team, and they basically kind of make him into a Dark Trainer instead of a Ground Trainer with a lot of them, because, I mean, yeah, it makes sense, right? The only reason he's not a Dark-type trainer is because Gen 1 didn't have Dark-type. He had Ground, so he gets the Ground-type, but a lot of his Pokemon are kind of, like, weird Ground-types. So, yeah. It's how it works. Stunky and Stuntank, I don't like him either. Again, I said that Dark type is going to be very Feast or Famine with me. I actually dislike these more. I've never been a fan. Yeah, he's good. Like, Skuntank can do a lot of work. You can make it very tanky, gets Flamethrower, it gets a bunch of really good moves. I just don't like him. I'm not a big fan of Skunks, to be fair, either. I don't like its color scheme. I don't really like its design. It's fine in battle, but... Again, I don't like him. I genuinely don't like him. I never have and I never will. Right? But, I will say, here we get a good Pokemon. Now, here's the Pokemon that just beats the shit out of Sableye for me. I love Spiritomb. Now, it may be the Cynthia bias, but I like Spiritomb. I like its design. Its lore is very cool. I would comfortably say, yes, it's an S tier. It's probably the low S tier, but it is an S tier. I'd say about here. I fucking love Spiritomb. It's really cool. It's not great in battle. I would love a Mega Spiritomb so much. That's the bit. Spiritomb is a tank in battle. It actually makes use of the gimmick that Sableye had. Which Sableye had by accident, of only being weak to one type. Spiritomb is my preferred one to use. I think Sableye is better because Prankster, but I really like using Spiritomb. It's great. I I just love it. I really like it. It's a cool vibe. It looks great. What more can I say? It's an awesome Pokemon. And I am very, very happy to use it pretty much any time. Was an absolute bitch to get in Scarvi because the thing kept mementoing itself. But... But yeah, it's a really cool Pokemon. I'm a really big fan of it. So yeah, Spiritomb, big props for you. You're a great Pokemon, and I'm always happy to use you. Drapion, I'm going to be honest, I've wanted to use a Drapion for a while. I haven't ever used it. Yeah, I've never used this Pokemon, which is the only reason it's not going in S tier. I want to try it. If I had gotten to use this Pokemon, I would probably put it in S tier. But I have never used it. I kind of want to. I actually have gone against it. I didn't actually realize it had Sniper as one of its abilities, because a friend of mine, the actual person who challenged me for my gym on the weekend, has the baby version of Drapion, Scorpy, on his team. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. So yeah, he has a Drapion. I really like it. I think it's an awesome design. It's great. It generally is great. And if this Pokemon, if I used it and liked using it, this Pokemon would go up a tier. It's going in A tier purely because I don't know if I like to use it in battle. But I like its design. I know it gets good moves, it gets good abilities, I know it's got good stats. So I think I'd like it, but I don't know I'd like it. Right? So that's the only reason it's down there. But it's a very solid Pokemon, and I know it is. I'll just see if I like using it. That's what it's going to come down to. I might consider using it in the Monotype. If I get Poison or Dark type in the Monotype run for the region it's in, there's a good chance I'll use it. Genuinely. Because I think it's Gen 4, actually, I know it is. So if I get it in Sinnoh, I very much might use it. Yep. Now then, Weavile. Yep. Not as much as Mega Gyarados. I love Weavile. As I've said, 90% of its design is amazing. I don't really like the fan on its head. Great Pokemon, great stats, great usability. I know I like this one. It's just phenomenal Pokemon. Phenomenal Pokemon. I love Weavile a lot. You probably knew that Weavile was going to be there because Sneasel was an A tier. But Weavile is an amazing Pokemon. I really like using it. I'm always like, oh, could I use Weavile in this? And it's like, there's not a situation I would be sad to use Weavile. Genuinely. It is a very, very, very good Pokemon. And I'm always happy to use it. I'm gonna be honest. Okay, so here's the thing. I like Darkrai. I do like Darkrai. Unfortunately, when I was a child, me and a buddy who... there's a buddy of mine who's a massive Pokemon nerd. There's a buddy of mine who is a massive Pokemon nerd. Like, far bigger than I ever have been or ever could be. Who used to have level 100 shinies of every single Pokemon with multiple competitive battle sets. Right? Which they actually legitimately farmed. And things like that, right? So, I would play against them quite regularly to play Pokemon. Like, have a good laugh. Figure out how it works. You know, just play around with some big scary legendary Pokemons. I had no idea what Darkrai was when I did this. So I had to feel the brunt of pre-nerf Darkrai as a child. And that traumatized me to hate this Pokemon. But it is a good design, and it is very cool. But because of that, one battle... Actually, it wasn't one battle, it was like an afternoon of battles, where they beat me with that repeatedly. Then it got nerfed into the ground, and I think Darkrai is fine. Although I hate its level up moveset. Why the hell does it learn Dark Pulse at level, like, 93? It should learn it way earlier. Or get a better Dark move as a signature move if it wants to learn Dark Pulse late. It's annoying. Also, my god, is it tedious to use in Pokemon Rogue. Or at least it was until I got Fire Wrath on it as an egg move. Because I got a second Darkrai. I have Spore and Fire Wrath. It was more miserable to use, but Darkrai, full credit, is getting top of A tier. But it loses out on S tier because of a little bit of bitterness I have from childhood about it. But it is great. It's a great design. I have one in Scarlet as well. It looks great. Great design, great abilities. Well, great moves. Kind of okay ability. It's fine. Dealing a bit of damage. Basically, just nightmares is alright, you know. But yeah, great Pokemon. If you say it's your favorite, I absolutely get it. And yeah, you said it's your favorite, so I absolutely get it. But for me personally, there's others I'd rather use. But it is a very, very cool Pokemon, and I am not shutting that at all. It is a very, very cool Pokemon and deserves. In most people's tier list, it will be S tier. It should be S tier, and I absolutely agree it should be. But me personally, it's going to be the top of A tier, and it probably isn't moving. Yeah, it's probably. I'm literally just looking at the rest of the list. I don't think anything's going to take it off the top of A tier. We might see later on, but hey. Hisui and Samurott. My god, did they take one of the worst starters ever and make it cool? I'm not kidding. Darkrai's quite little. Yeah. Darkrai is surprisingly small. It's it's kind of like a little bit bulkier than a actual, like, adult human torso size, but it's not got legs, so it makes it short. It's kind of neat. To be honest, it is an embodiment of nightmares. It doesn't need to be big. Yeah. It's because it's got big torso, but no legs, right? But yeah. Hisui and Samurott. Genuinely, they took one of the worst starters ever made. One of the Gen 5 starters, which are the worst gen of starters. As I've said this repeatedly, I think Gen 5 starters are the worst in the entirety of Pokemon. At least the starter. Superior is really good if you get contrary with it, but you never get that as the starter. And as the starter, it's terrible. Embo, the shiny looks great, but it's very mid. I don't like any of them, really. Normal Samurott has nothing redeeming about it. Hisui and Samurott is very cool. They massively beefed up the design. They gave it good abilities. They gave it a good ability with sharpness. They give it a great signature ability, which is the freaking Ceaseless Edge, which puts up spikes, and it goes with sharpness, which actually does some good damage as well. It's a great move and a great Pokemon. You are going in a comfy A tier. I'd say, probably about here. You are genuinely a lot better. They did a massive glow up with that one. That one, I'd say, of the starters in Hisui, is by far the biggest upgrade over the original. I like normal Decidueye more than Hisui and Decidueye. And I like normal Typhlosion more than Hisui and Typhlosion. But Samurott itself does not compare to Hisui and Samurott. I would say normal Samurott is one of... would I say it's not the worst water starter of all time, because Quaquaval exists. But normal Samurott, I'd say, might be the most forgettable water starter of all time. Should have kept it bipedal. Which one? Oh, Samurott. I could see that. Yeah, they wanted to go for the samurai vibe. It just didn't really work with normal Samurott. Hisui and Samurott, you can see what they were going for. They were going like Ronin vibes. It's like, oh, that's sick. Genuinely, yeah. That's my thought. Hisui and Samurott is a massive upgrade over normal Samurott because it's actually cool. Like they made a design and it looks good. So props. I don't even remember the name of these cats. I'm gonna be honest. Is it Purloin? Yes, Purloin. I mean, it's kind of cute. Right? I mean, it's a cat. Cats are cute. I don't even know what its evolution's called. Lipard. Yeah, okay. They're fine. They're very cute. They are very cute. I will give it to that. But they're pretty meh. I'll put you as C tier because you're a cat. Actually, no, I'll put the normal one better because it's more cute. Genuinely, that's all they got going for them. They are very forgettable Pokemon. They tried to make Meowth again, and it didn't really work, so they made different Meowth, and that didn't really work, and then they made cool Meowth, in Galar. So yeah, they have the fact that I like cats going for them. That is literally it. They're Pokemon. I've never used them, and I never want to use them. Are there better cat Pokemon? Absolutely, there are better cat Pokemon. But I've heard that normal Purloin, normal Lipod you can make work. I don't know how. Oh, I guess Prankster. I know Burden. Okay. Okay, it's because Prankster. Okay, so Prankster Pokemon, that's how it's usable. Does it get any good support moves? Okay, it's Nasty Plot. It's a physical attacker that gets Nasty Plot. Okay. Oh, actually, no, it could go either way. It doesn't get any good special moves by level up. Okay, Snarl. Okay, I could see a build for it. Nothing crazy, and I'm probably never going to use it, but you know what? Also, it's pretty fast, actually. I suppose it is a leopard. 106 speed's not bad. 106 speed is not bad. You know exactly where the crocodiles are going. You know exactly where the crocodiles are going. These three are three of my favorite dark types of all time. I love Sandile. It's great. It's really cute. Absolutely adorable. Quite decent as well. Great. Good abilities as well. I can never remember the middle one's name. It's Sandile. It's Sandile something and Crocodile. Krokorok, that was it. I actually said it before I looked it up. Yeah, Krokorok. Krokorok, again, great Pokemon. Love it. Really cool. Awesome. Crocodile is amazing. I love this Pokemon. Do I like him? Yes. Crocodile, I fucking adore. It's one of the original crocodiles. After, obviously, the water one. What was it? Crocodile. Feraligatr. After Feraligatr. I'm a huge crocodile fan in general. And crocodiles are really, really, really good Pokemon. Genuinely, never upset to use this thing. Genuinely, I am very happy to use... Crocodile is one of those Pokemon like, okay, you're in consideration. Dark Ground, I love the typing as well. Because it gives double immunity. It gives me immunity to electric and psychic, so it's always good. I've used Crocodile so much in Pokemon Showdown in like the middle tiers. It's very, very good Pokemon. I love it. Genuinely love it. It loses out a few points in its own category because it's in the same spot as Garchomp, right? And Garchomp is my competitive Pokemon of choice. So Crocodile loses out a lot for that. But in tiers I can't use Garchomp in because they're too low tier. Crocodile is on the table for the middle tiers. It's a really strong Pokemon. Does a shitload of work, honestly. Also goes quite well on a Sandstorm team, which is always a prop for me. Gets Moxie, gets Intimidate. Great Pokemon. Just a great Pokemon. I'm never upset to have it. Yeah. Gonna be honest here. Scraggy and its evolution. What the fuck is its name again? Scrafty. Cool. Scraggy and Scrafty. Remember when I said there are two Pokemon that can compete with Alolan Meowth for being the worst dark type ever? These are the two. I hate them. I know they're actually pretty usable, and they're pretty good, but I dislike these Pokemon so much. They are two of my least favorite designs of all time. I'm putting them like this. I think that the baby one is less offensive than the last one. I do not like these things at all. I don't like the memes. I don't like what they represent. I just don't like them. I hate these things. They're quite good, which makes it worse because I'd like to see these fuckers. They are some of my least favorite Pokemon of all time. Genuinely. If I had to do a tier list of every single Pokemon ever, these three at the bottom here would be in the bottom tier with some of the things like the Elemental Monkeys and Ambipom and shit like that, which I just despise. So, yeah. I hate these Pokemon. I know a lot of people love them because they're quite good. I don't. Okay? I hate them. Yeah. That's my TED Talk. Zorua, I like Zorua a lot. Normal Zorua is quite cute. This will be a weird one for me. I will give normal Zorua S tier. He's, like, Zoroark, I'll give high B. I think that normal... My least favorite, God. I think it's Simisage. I think it's one of the elemental monkeys, almost certain. Actually, no, it might be Mr. Mime. I think it's Mr. Mime. Normal Mr. Mime, specifically. Not Galarian. Galarian's is fine. Mr. Mime will hit no, probably. For my least favorite. The elemental monkeys are definitely very much in the same, like, bucket as them. There's a lot of Pokemon I really don't like. Scrafty and Alolan Persian is definitely there as well. Do a list of those. Maybe. I will say these three are in the same weight class of terrible, and I abject hatred as like the others. But I definitely don't hate them as much as I dislike Mr. Mime and things like that. I definitely dislike those more. I'd probably say Hypno is my least favorite. If I had to say comfortable, what is your least favorite Pokemon of all time? Probably Hypno. I hate Hypno. I don't mind Drowsy as much. Drowsy is alright. I see what Drowsy is supposed to be. I also worry, unfortunately, think I see what Hypno is supposed to be. And that's awful. So, yeah. I can't talk about it on stream. But you know. If you know, you know. Excuse me. Hypno is a Pokemon that I have genuinely caught in a game before to complete the Pokedex, and then immediately released it because I don't want it on my team. I don't want it in my Pokebox. I really don't like Jinx as well. Jinx is another really low on my tier list of, like, I don't like it. Do you like the original design or the redesign? Because Jinx got redesigned to be less racist. Okay, Pawniard and Bishop. I already gushed about Pawniard and Bishop, genuinely. Yeah, Jinx is a Gen 1 Pokemon. Jinx is old. But yeah, I like Pawniard and Bishop. I think they're both very cool. Pawniard is probably here. And Bishop is probably here. Where'd he go? Nope. Gulpadier. I lost him. Yeah. I think they're similar age, is the thing. Because Jinx is Gen 1 Pokemon. Like, Mr. Popo is definitely older, but yeah. I won't get into that, but yeah. Vullaby and Mandibuzz. I'm not a huge fan of Vullaby and Mandibuzz. They are very, very good Pokemon. I will fully say that. But I don't like them. I don't like what they do, is the main thing. These ones, I'm not a huge fan of the design. I really don't like Vullaby's design. I think Vullaby is a pretty weak design. Mandibuzz is fine. I like the Vulture vibe, but it's not getting out of the tier, but it's definitely higher up in the same tier. Here maybe? Actually, no, I like these two more. Yeah, it's a little bit higher up in the C tier. It's great, do not get me wrong. Mandibuzz is an amazingly good Pokemon. But I just don't like it, really. It's a bit... I like how it plays, I will say. I think it should work differently for what it is. I would have loved it if they made Mandibuzz like a bit weirder with how it works. But it's basically the same. It's basically the tank version of Galarian Moltres. So it's good. It's pretty good, but I don't like using it personally. There's other Pokemon I would prefer. We've got some more S tiers coming up, guys. We've got Ringo Starr, Dino, we have Zweilous, who, honestly, on this dark tier list, Zweilous, you're probably going... Where the fuck did you go? Zweilous is going... I'd say I prefer Zweilous slightly to Umbreon, but it's close. Hydreigon, though. Boop. Just behind T-Tart. One of my favourite pseudos, as everybody knows, but I do prefer T-Tart as a dark type. It genuinely is the thing. I absolutely adore both of these, and it's a very close one. The top 3 for dark types, by the way, is going to be really close. Hey, nice. I got a Dino from an egg and caught one. But I actually, the one it's got Esper Wing, it's not got Fire Wrath, which is the one I wanted. But it's got Esper Wing, which is a pretty good move. I need more Dinos and to use more. Because I love Hydreigon, as I said. Great Pokemon. Very, very good Pokemon. Let's look at it. Hydro Dragon, it's King Ghidorah vibes. It's a really, really cool Pokemon. It also is literally the reason they added Fairy type to the game. It was so powerful. Hydreigon was so powerful. They actually added Fairy type because of it. Because they realized that it's kind of a problem. And there's not really a counter pick to it. Before Fairy got added. And then they made Fairy, which also I love Hydreigon because of that, because since it made Fairy get made, it essentially caused more variety in Dragon types, because with Fairy existing, they could put more types together with Dragon to make, because you're not going to just have the one major weakness of Dragon, which is Ice, because the other one is Dragon, which eventually, which is always a scary thing, because eventually, if the only weakness of your type is the same type, then it's just going to be Dragon Wars. Because it's just going to be who has the bigger dragon. Right? So because of Fairy being added to the game, they could add more things to... yes, there is a few Dragon Grass. The entire Applin Hydrapple line is Dragon Grass. Very weak type combination, but pretty good Pokemon. Dragon Grass is the weakest of the starter combos with Dragon. Dragon Fire and Dragon Water are both very comparable with each other. They are both very, very good. I think Dragon Water has the best resistances, and Dragon Fire has the best coverage. But they're both really good types. They're both really good type combos. Dragon Water is only weak to Dragon and Fairy, because they compensate for the other weaknesses of each other. Because Dragon literally resists the 2 water weaknesses, and Water compensates for the ice weakness of Dragon. Whereas with Fire, Dragon negates the water weakness of Fire, and Fire negates the Fairy weakness, the Fairy and the ice weakness of Dragon. But Fire has 2 more weaknesses than... Fire has an extra weakness on top than Water, so Fire Dragon is weak to Dragon, Rock, and Ground. So, whereas Dragon Grass has a significant problem because it doesn't compensate any of the weaknesses of Dragon. So Dragon Grass has the full suite of Fairy and Dragon weaknesses, and it's quad weak to Ice because Grass is also weak to Ice. But Dragon does compensate for the weakness of Fire in Grass types, and also they're quad resistant to Electric. So there is that. But Ground types also exist. So yeah, that would be better if Ground wasn't a thing. Greninja. I know people love Greninja. I kind of like it. It's cool. It's a very cool Pokemon. I will full give it credit, and loads of people love it. It's not for me. I like Delphox more in its own, set. It's cool. Solid A. I'm probably going to give it A as well. I'm going to put it behind... I've just realized you got moved up a tier by accident. Go back down there. I'm going to put it behind Hisuian Samurott, because I think Hisuian Samurott is a cooler one because of the upgrade. Greninja's great. Also, Greninja might go up a tier because of how they change it in ZA, because it's almost certainly coming back in ZA, because it's freaking... the right gen, right? It's the redo of the Gen 6 region. So Greninja's going to get something probably for it, and I'm expecting a Mega. I'm generally expecting a Mega for all 3. of the Kalos starters in Legends EA. So we'll get Mega Greninja, which will probably be very cool. I'm looking forward to Mega Delphox more, but Greninja is a very cool Pokemon, and if loads of people say it's their favorite starter, fair enough. I absolutely get it. I'm also not really a frog guy myself. Like, frogs are fine, but... Pangoro! I love Pangoro a lot. Pangoro, you're going in S tier for me, buddy. I have a soft spot for this Pokemon. Where the fuck are you? I lost it. Where did it go? Ah, there it is. It probably worked out, yeah. It's the Yakuza Panda is the thing I like about it. Where are you going? I think you're going here. Just over at Krokorok. I really like... It's supposed to be a Yakuza boss, which is like why Pan-chan, the baby, goes through... like, it's with its inner party with a dark type, it evolves into a dark fighting type, which, genuinely is such a cool vibe because it's getting a bad influence, so it turns into the Yakuza boss, which is a cool vibe. Give it a Mega. Honestly, it wouldn't have needed a Mega if it hadn't happened to be a Gen 6 Pokemon, so Fairy came out at the same time. Pangoro would be a way better Pokemon if it came out in Gen 5 before Fairy. But as it stands, with Fairy type, it's significantly worse. I hope it gets something. I would love it to get a Mega. It's a really cool Pokemon. I'd be very happy for it. Because I say, I love this Pokemon. Is it my favorite bear Pokemon? It might be. It's worse. It's flat out worse than Urshifu, I will say. Single Strike Urshifu is just this, but better. But I like Pangoro more, I'm going to be honest. Pangoro's a better design for me personally. It's not broken like Urshifu as well, so... yeah, I really like Pangoro. Inkay. You're going immediately here, buddy. Ursaring is cool. Ursaluna is better. I love Ursaluna. I'm gonna sing the praises of them when we get to next week, actually, because Ursaluna is a ground type, and I'm doing ground type next week. I need a drink. Sorry, give me a second. Need to refill my get a drink of caffeine. Starting to get a sore throat. Yeah, Inkay, I quite like Inkay. It's very cute. Its vibe is awesome. And how it evolves into the next Pokemon is great. However, Malamar. Yeah, there are a lot of groundwater types. It's because one of the best Pokemon type combinations you can make. It's another reason why, genuinely, I think they need to make another weakness for water types, because it's really easy to compensate for the weakness of water types. Because, genuinely, if they ever make a water ground type with Sap Sipper, it's immune to everything. It's resistant to everything. It's another Sableye issue. Same with levitating electric types. Electric and water need more weaknesses added to them. Because if they make more weaknesses added to them, it means that no longer are they just insanely good defensive types, so they have to be really careful mixing with other types. Because they've got very good resistances and very few weaknesses, right? But yeah, Malamar. I fucking love Malamar. Anyone who's seen a lot of my Pokemon Showdown knows I have swept people repeatedly. I made people rage quit with my Malamar before. I really like this Pokemon. It's a contrary Pokemon. It's awesome. I absolutely love it. Malamar, you are getting a very high A tier. Probably just behind... actually, no, above Sneasel. I'll put you above Sneasel. I really like Malamar. I have done... okay, I recommend this. I believe is the set I did was Adamant Nature, Max Health, Max Special Defense, with the last couple of points put into attack. Superpower, Knockoff, Rest, Sleep Talk, with, what did I have for the item? Leftovers. Try that in Pokemon. You will not be upset with the results, particularly in competitive. That thing is a beast. That thing is an absolute beast. It's very weak to bug types. Be very careful with bug types with it. But if you can get that thing rolling, it's very, very hard to deal with. People do not know how to deal with a Malamar that's set up like that. It's an old set from, I think, Sun and Moon. I think is what it is. But I found it. It's a really good set. Do not get me wrong. It's a really, really solid set for a Malamar, and it will do you a lot of good. So yeah, highly recommend trying Malamar with the rest Sleep Talk set that I said. Superpower, give its contrary, obviously. Superpower and knockoff. Basically hits nearly anything. Sleep Talk, to get it that. It's got stab. You'd lose out on the... there's no psychic stab, but you more than make up for it with superpower with contrary. Yeah. So yeah, highly recommend it. Yveltal. I've never used Yveltal. You know what? Yveltal might actually take the top spot off of Darkrai for A tier. I have never used Yveltal. I know it's got one of my favorite abilities in Pokemon, though. Now, you know what? Yveltal might be S tier for me. I've never used it. But this is what I know I'd love using. Yeah. Also, I love that it's shiny. It's just bacon. As well. So, for being the Bacon Bird with the Oblivion Wing, which is one of my favorite moves in Pokemon, I'd put you here. I'd put you as an S tier. I love your design as well. It's a sick design. I love the red and black. And it changes to red and white with the shiny, and it just looks like bacon. It's great. I really like it. It's also the most powerful dark flying type, I believe. The only reason it was, like, outshone in its own gen was by Xerneas, which is one of the strongest legendaries ever made. Was genuinely the only reason why it was kind of like the worst of the two. And Zygarde. But it's great. Apologies, everybody. Hooper Unbound specifically, this is. This is specifically Unbound. Oh, Hooper Unbound is awesome. I am a big fan of Hooper Unbound. I love its attack stats. I love its freaking Hyperspace Fury move as well. It's sick. I really like it. Hooper Unbound, you're going in A tier, but whereabouts in A tier are you going? I'd say about here, right? I'd say that's cool. I'd say I very much like Hooper Unbound. It's a really cool Pokemon. I love the Ganondorf vibe it kind of gives off as well. I think it's an absolutely sick Pokemon. So yeah, I very much like it. Ooh, now we have the greatest competitive Pokemon of all time for VGC. Incineroar. Incineroar is definitely going in ST. You all know it is. I love Incineroar. I've spoken a lot about how I love Incineroar. Very, very cool Pokemon. I like how it works. I don't have one. I have the pre-evolution in Ultra Sun, but I really like it. I do think that all three of the Alolan starters are three of the best starters ever made in terms of just how good they are. But I think they're good competitively, and they're very, very cool. They're all a great design. So, Incineroar, which is my favorite of them, I will say. I think I described it as my 5th favorite starter of all time, Incineroar. Yeah, I believe it was my 5th favorite. It's great. You're going in S tier. I think I prefer you to Weavile, honestly. Do I prefer you to Mega? I think I prefer it to Mega Gyarados. Yeah, I think I prefer Crocodile a little bit to it. But yeah, Incineroar, very, very good Pokemon. You're definitely an S tier and a good S tier as well. I'm a big fan of it. Yeah, that's what I can really go for it. It's a great, great, great Pokemon. Now, ah! The cry of the Guzzlord! Ah! I love Guzzlord. What can I say? He's an S tier Pokemon. It's great. It's not great to use. I will say, I am currently using one in our Pokemon Gym Leader League. It's in my Gym Leader team. Okay? It's such a fun Pokemon. It's terrible, but it's very fun. Guzzlord, you're going in S tier, but whereabouts? I'll put you above Weavile. I think Weavile's a solid spot for you. It's such a fun Pokemon. Yeah, it's funny. I love its design. I love how stupid it is. It's a goofy, but in a cool way. Its stats are atrocious. It's got okay attack, great health, and no defense, and it's slow as dirt with a quad weakness. What can I say? I like it. I really like Guzzlord. Guzzlord's fun. Yeah, I genuinely love the thing. The voice actor who does the English dub for it, I know as well. It's the guy who plays Natsu in Fairy Tail, does the scream as well. So, yeah, it's great fun. It's a very fun Pokemon. It's getting there purely on vibes. Also, it's not unusable. Like, it's not good, but it's not unusable as well. Nickit and... I don't remember the evolution of Nickit. Thievul. Okay. I'm not the biggest fan of these ones. Yeah, they're fine. I like the names. And generally the names, I think, are the best part. I am mostly indifferent to them, though. They're kind of cool in a weird way. So I'll probably put you, like, here. Also, you got dragged up a tier, didn't you? Yeah. Right. Nah, I prefer Matiana's design. I prefer Houndoom's. Maybe this way around. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I don't think they're awful, but... Oh, we'll get to the imp line. Okay, so... Yeah, Nickit and Thievul, they're fine. I'm not a huge fan of them, but they're not. They're not bad. I would not call them bad Pokemon at all for design-wise. They're kind of alright. Now, Impidimp. Impidimp, you're going in the top of B tier. You're going in B tier, right? Same with Morgrim. Both of them are kind of cool. They're both genuinely alright. I'm not a huge fan, but I also don't dislike them. So I think they're pretty cool. Right, I like the idea of them. I also like Dark Fairy type. Very cool combo. Grimmsnarl, however, I like Grimmsnarl. I actively quite like Grimmsnarl. I'd say about here for Grimmsnarl. I love its lore. I love its vibes. I don't use it like most people do. For reference, Grimmsnarl is a fantastic support Pokemon. Absolutely fantastic. It's prankster. It's bulky. I mean, it's literally a giant tank of a Pokemon. But how I use it, genuinely, people don't expect how hard this thing hits. Genuinely. It hits really hard if you build it like that. In a few games, I think it can get Darkest Lariat and Spirit Break. I think you get Play Rough as well. I've done some serious work with an offensive set with this thing. You give it some support abilities. I think my one was running... Oh yeah, because it can't get Darkest Lariat, I don't think, in the current gen. So I think my do it for it was I gave it Play Rough, Crunch, Parting Shot, and I don't remember the other move. I think I gave it Coverage, maybe Drain Punch or something like that. But run that thing. That thing's not bad. Like, it can do some serious damage if you know how to use it. Like, run it kind of bulky offensive. The thing does work. I think, to be honest, I ran it max attack, adamant nature, max speed. It can do some damage, and I like it. I do prefer the alternate version for it because it's the equivalent of Hatterene. Hatterene is amazing, and I absolutely love Hatterene. So Grimmsnarl does lose that to Hatterene. But I love Hatterene, is another big thing. So, there is that. I am using Hatterene is another Pokemon I am intending to use in my run when I eventually get Pokemon Sword. I actually want to make sure Hatterene is in Sword, right? Just give me a check. I'm like 90% sure that they're both in. Yeah, they're both in. Cool. I was pretty sure they are because I believe that they are both G-maxed. by a different person, so there's that. I genuinely might. I might do that. I'm going to do all the types first, and then I might do some extra ones, like Megas and G-Maxes and stuff like that. And Regionals. I think that could be a fun one. Grimmsnarl. I like G-Max Grimmsnarl. I like the vibe it went for. I actually genuinely prefer the design to Grimmsnarl. Quite a bit, actually. So I think I'll go high 80. It's got the proper Demon Lord vibe, which I think is very, very cool. It is one of my preferred G-Maxes in terms of it. My favorite G-Max is Charizard. I love G-Max Charizard. I love the Firestorm God Dragon look. I know what they went for, and I like it. Genuinely. But there's a lot of really cool ones. I am really irritated still that there's no G-Max Tyranitar. I think G-Max Tyranitar would have been so good. Straight up Godzilla. But yeah. That's how it goes. Annoyingly, because I'm getting Pokemon Sword over Shield, I will not actually have access to T-Tar in that game. But what I will have instead, I will actually finally get to use a Dragapult. I have never used a Dragapult, ever. So, I want to try it. I know it will basically not evolve fully until the final fight, but I gotta try it, right? I've used every pseudo-legendary apart from that one. I gotta use it, right? Now, Obstagoon. One of the single best regional forms in Pokemon. Genuinely. For me, it's top 2, I would say. Definitely top 3. Probably top 2, maybe top 3. The top 1, unfortunately, Obstagoon, you can't quite compete with Hisuian Lilligant. But you're competing with a Hisuian Arcanine and a Alolan Ninetales for regional form, right? They are all amazing ones. They are starting to really get how to do regional forms. Also, Paldean Wooper and Clodsire is another great one. I love Obstagoon a lot. Obstagoon is a comfortable S tier for me. To the point of Galarian Obstagoon, I might figure this out later. Galarian Obstagoon might very well be my favorite normal type Pokemon. There is no Regishadow or anything. Yes, there is no Dark Reggie. Not yet, at least. I wouldn't be too surprised to see in a few games they do some more Regis. It's Regirock, Steel, Ice, Dragon, and Electric. All the Regis. Oh, and Gigas, of course. But yeah, I love Obstagoon. Obstagoon is a phenomenal Pokemon in my book, and genuinely, yeah. Very well might be my favorite normal type. In all honesty, I'll have to go back and look at it later when I do normal types. But it's really good chance to be my favorite normal type Pokemon. I'm not usually a big normal type Pokemon guy, but yeah. Okay. I forgot the name of this Pokemon. I actually quite like this Pokemon as well. Hangry. I remember it's Hangry. No, I've forgotten it. Hangry Pokemon. Morpeko. Morpeko, that was it. Yeah, Morpeko. I literally just typed in Hangry on Bulbapedia and got the name Morpeko immediately, so. Morpeko, I think, is one of the 2 best Pikachu clones I've ever made. Genuinely. It's got a cool ability. It's got a cool gimmick. I love the vibe of it. It's one of Marnie's signature Pokemon. It actually is her signature Pokemon. It's an electric dark type, which I think is quite a cool combo. I'm going to be honest. I'm not a huge fan of electrics, but this is one of my preferred electric types. This one's getting a very good review on electric types tier list because as a dark type, it's alright. I kind of vibe with it. It's one of the best electric types. I love its ability, Aura Wheel as well. Aura Wheel just means you band it as well. You just give this thing a choice band and let it Aura Wheel, Aura Wheel, Aura Wheel, Aura Wheel, Aura Wheel. It's really cool. It's kind of a vibe. I love that it's like, it eats things. Like, it's got basically, the reason for its mechanic is its metabolism super fast. I love it. So yeah, you are getting, I'd say you're getting a solid A tier, you know? Maybe it's around Carvana. Yeah, I think I don't prefer it as Carvana, but I do like it a bit more than, Muck. A lot of Muck. So yeah. There's a lot of them which are just, yeah, they're a good way to get XP. There's some really cool normal types, though. They do exist. It's just, unfortunately, a lot of normal types are kind of mid-Pokemon in most cases. Not Arceus. Arceus is a beast. But a lot of normal type is kind of just there. Alright. It's tacked on to give it something. There are some exceptions, Hisui and Zoroark being a big exception. But, yeah, mostly normal types just there. It's not crazy. It basically gives an immunity to Ghost and a weakness to Fighting in 9 times out of 10. Right? And it gives it an extra stab, and the stab can be good. The stab can be generally good. It's great Terra type, I will 100% say. Terra Normal is really powerful because it things like extreme speed. Normal's got some very, very powerful moves. But there's only so much you can do, right? Now then, Urshifu. I've never liked Urshifu, but I will say this is my preferred form of Urshifu. I think Wicked Blow, Single Strike Urshifu is cooler than Rapid Strike Urshifu. I kind of vibe with the, like, the Muay Thai Urshifu. I think this one more is designed to be. Muay Thai. So I kind of vibe with it a bit more. I don't like the Pokemon, but I don't like the Pokemon because it feels a little cheaply broken. Whereas, as a concept of a Pokemon, I think it's cool. I don't think it should be a legendary, though. Genuinely. I think it should have, like, dropped the stats a bit. Or make it a pseudo. Genuinely, if they'd have made Urshifu a pseudo-legendary in its region, because I think it's got the pseudo-legendary stat line. But it's technically not one because it counts as a legendary. I think it would have been a much cooler and much more acceptable Pokemon. But as it is, it's cool. It's definitely a vibe. I'm going to put you around here. Same with the G-Max. It's fine. I'm not particularly interested in using it that much, though. It's powerful and it's good, but I'm not bothered. Now, Zarude. Zarude is a Pokemon. Everyone knows I don't really like monkeys. It's got a kind of cool design, but it's so forgettable. Zarude is one of the most forgettable Pokemon ever. I don't hate it. I don't like it either. You are going in C tier because I forget you're a Pokemon. You're going behind the cats. It's got a kind of... I like the claws on its hands. That's the best thing it's got going for it. And its colour scheme's pretty good because it's black and green, which does go very well. But I just forget you exist. I don't know. I don't like monkeys anyway. And I forget you're a Pokemon. When I forget a legendary is a legendary, we've got a problem. To be fair, they tried something with the Zarude. It didn't work, so they went, fuck it, we're making Ogerpon, and Ogerpon's beloved. Ogerpon is one of the coolest Pokemon they've ever made. So, yeah. Like, second attempt, right? To make a cool grass-type legendary thing. It's a Pokemon. Overquill? Overquill's great. I like Overquill's vibe. It's a freaking sea mine mixed with a pufferfish. There is one. I know there's one. I'm trying to remember which monkey Pokemon I like, but there is one. There's definitely one I like. Oh, Annihilate. I like the Mankey and Primate line. I don't like any of the others, really. But I love Annihilate. Annihilate's great. See, there's one. It's not just monkeys. I just think that most of the monkey designs are bad. Yeah, I really, really like Annihilate. So. I'm also mostly indifferent to Rillaboom. It's fine, really. I can't think of any other monkeys offhand, but Rillaboom is mid. Annihilate is cool. Annihilate is very cool. So yeah, that's my one on monkeys. Overquill is great. I love Overquill. It's awesome. You're going up in A tier, comfy. Probably there. It's another Alolan Muck, Alolan Grimer kind of thing. It just kind of does the job better. But it's an awesome Pokemon. I love it. I love that they actually made Quillfish give a reason to exist. Yeah, Annihilate got so angry. Annihilate is a primate that got so angry it died, but just kept going because it was so pissed off. It's a great idea for a Pokemon. Its design is amazing. One of the best Gen 9 Pokemon. Comfy spot. And Gen 9 has some amazing Pokemon in it. As you're about to see, because we just got to Gen 9. Okay, so Meowscarada. I did say there's a better Shiftry. There's a significantly better Shiftry. There's a significantly better Cacturn. Meowscarada is one of my top 2 favorite grass starters. Yeah, pretty much. Meowscarada is one of my top 2 favorite... Honestly, it's one of my top 2 favorite non-fire type starters. Genuinely, it's between it and Torterra. Then after them, it's probably Primarina, which is my favorite water type. But I love Meowscarada. Genuinely, I've said before, the starters for Paldea... the crocodile is amazing. The cat is amazing. The bird is awful. I've said it before. Yeah. I've forgotten. My brain has died. It's too hot today. Oh, my brain is fucked up. Skeledirge! Thank God. I literally forgot the name of one of my favorite starters. Yeah, I genuinely think Meowscarada and Skeledirge are 2 of the best starters ever made. Genuinely. Skeledirge, I've said before, it's my 3rd favorite starter of all time. It literally only loses out to... Actually, did I say it was my 2nd favorite? No, yeah, it's my 2nd favorite. It's my 2nd favorite starter. It only loses out to Charizard, which is my starter of choice outright, because it's the dragon. Even if it's not dragon type, it's still the dragon. Skeledirge is so good. I absolutely love it. Yeah. And Meowscarada competes. I don't know which one I prefer out of it or Torterra. Decidueye is also great. Yeah, I will full say. Decidueye is another great one. But Meowscarada is so good. I get what people were saying. I also kind of wish it was a like a tiger. I'd have preferred, like a big 4-legged thing. But I don't despise the vibe they went. They went with the magician kind of vibe. They went Puss in Boots in the middle as well. It's a really, really cool design for a Pokemon, and I really like it. The type's great. How it works is great. It's an amazing Pokemon. Genuinely. If you picked Meowscarada as your... if you pick Sprigatito as your starter in Paldea, I'll go, fair enough. If you pick Quaquaval, I'd judge. I think Quaquaval is one of the worst starters, if not the worst starter ever made. Not necessarily usability, it's fine. It's the worst of the Paldea starters, I believe, in usability, but it's fine. It's a terrible design. I hate it. It's awful. But the other 2 are fantastic. So I literally have said before, Skeledirge and Meowscarada are so good, the 3rd one had to be a complete miss, and it did. I don't think there's... The only time that you actually say Quaquaval is a good starter compared to the other Paldea starters is Copium, because you picked it and you want to justify your choice. You want to justify your wrong decision. Hey, Blaziken and Incineroar are amazing. I have said. They're both great. Blaziken is my 3rd favorite starter. Incineroar is my 5th favorite starter. Of all time, by the way. This is of all the starters. They are my 3rd and 5th favorites. Water starters for me, it's Feraligatr. Actually, it's Primarina then Feraligatr. I love Primarina a lot. I love the Primarina because it shocked me so much that it was... That design came out of Popplio. Because Popplio is a terrible design. But Primarina's an amazing design. And Feraligatr's a fucking crocodile. Of course I'm going to love it. But yeah, Meowscarada is an S tier pick. Easy clap. Easy clap. Probably about here. Genuinely. hey, Empoleon's a great Pokemon. What can I say? Meowscarada is a Pokemon that only loses out in its own region because Skeledirge is so good. In terms of design and just everything about it. It's so good. So genuinely, yeah, Meowscarada is a great Pokemon. And I will say it, stand by that. Low-Kicks. I think Low-Kicks is a sick design. One of the cooler regional bugs. It's pretty alright. I'm gonna give you a comfy spot about here. You need your hidden ability to be really good, but it's kind of got a vibe, right? It's like a little mech suit robot bug. I kind of vibe with it. Yeah, Low-Kicks is good. Low-Kicks is pretty good. I'm sorry, Mabostiff. I'm not a huge fan of you. Your story is great, though. Genuinely, you can't hate Mabostiff. I'm not a huge fan of this type of dog. Really. But I will say your story more than makes up for it. And usability, it's pretty good. So I will give you above Absol, probably. I'm not the biggest fan of this Pokemon. But I also think I'm not the biggest fan of this Pokemon because it's Arven's Pokemon in the story. And the story hits really hard in Scarlet Violet, the Mabostiff story. If you haven't played Scarlet Violet, I won't spoil it for anything, but we have to do all the storylines to get to the final boss anyway. Genuinely, go and play through. Go do the Titan storyline. It's so good. Genuinely, yes. Low-Kicks is the destroyer of psychic types. It's a thing that most psychic types get mystical fire, but also Low-Kicks outspeeds a lot of psychic types, so there's that. Bombardier. I think Bombardier is kind of okay. One of the weakest Gen 9 Dark types, but still good. I will say. I'd say right here. B tier, Bowser tier. Bombardier is pretty cool. I will fully credit. It's pretty cool. Not for me. But I think it's a cool design. I like its rocky payload as the ability. I think that is a very cool thing. It gets on it on. It's kind of cool. It's got some vibes with it. I don't like the skin flap. I know it's supposed to be. I'm not the biggest fan of that, personally. But I think it's cool. But definitely my least favorite of the Paldea Dark types. But I also say Paldea Dark types are sick. Okay. King Gambit! Put him up the top, boys. We know King Gambit's going there. Awesome Pokemon. Absolutely fucking adore it. Great design. Great usability. It's such a good Pokemon. My god. Dark Steel is a cool typing as well. It compensates for Dark's weakness to Fairy. Literally, I said when I knew it before, Bishop needed something to make it great. Like, Bishop was good, but needed something to make it great. Oh, it's a great move. Sucker Punch as well. Sword Stance, Sucker Punch, Kowtow, Cleave, and a coverage move, right? Iron Head, probably. And that's my setup. Sword Stance, Sucker Punch, Kowtow, Cleave, and Iron Head is my build for King Gambit. Max health, max physical attack, adamant nature. One higher in... I always put 4 points into speed as well, so it outruns the slightly higher defensive voice King Gambits and things. It slightly outspeeds something in the equal speed tier. But it's a great Pokemon. Supreme Overlord is such a cool ability. I love the vibe. I genuinely love King Gambit. King Gambit is an amazing Pokemon, and I'm sad I've not used it as much as I want to. It's one of those Pokemon. I want to use it more. I've used it. I've used it a bit, but I've not used it enough, and I need to use it more. It's because I don't play a ton of OU in Pokemon, because it's always the try-hardy tier. And for me, my OU closer is coming up. But King Gambit's an amazing one. And you can definitely see why it's like the most used Pokemon in OU. Genuinely. It goes on every team because it's great on every team. In singles, at least. Brute Bonnet. Now we're getting to the big boys in Dark type for Gen 9. Brute Bonnet, great Pokemon. Genuinely, I really love it. I like that they made offense focused Among Us, basically. It's still good at support, but you kind of run it more as a slow brawler with some support abilities. Kind of like a paladin. But less defense, like more offensive support. Like, you debuff things and you brawl. So, Among Us, I will say, you're a decent A tier, you know? Maybe a little lower than that. Maybe out here. I think Brute Bonnet is a cool one. I love that they made the Dino Shroom. It's cool. I like it. Okay. Right. Now, here's the thing. I don't remember your name. Iron Hugulus. Iron Jugulus. Fungus Mungus. Sus. Jugulus. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. Jugulus is one of my least favorite Paradox Pokemon. It's not awful, I will say. But the thing I judge the Paradox Pokemon by is how do they compare to their original. Yeah. It's not gonna end up well removing the dragon type from a dragon for me, is it? And make it into like a kind of robot. It's fine. I wouldn't be upset using it. It's still a very good Pokemon, but I'm not a huge fan compared to a lot of others. Yeah, bottom of A tier. You're fine, but you're such a downgrade. I think that's the agreement as well. A lot of the Paradox Pokemon are side grades or better, right? They're either side grades or upgrades over the original, in terms of at least abilities to use. Jugulus, I believe, is just worse than Hydreigon. It's worse Hydreigon. It's not awful, but it's worse Hydreigon. The Paradox Pokemon, their lore is literally, there is an alternate like an alternate timeline. The Iron Pokemon come from the future in that alternate timeline. Or at least they're the idea of it, I believe. I'm not 100% on it because it's kind of weird. That part of Scarvi's storyline is a little weird, but it's very cool. Also, I played Scarlet, not Violet, which this one is in Violet. It's cool. It is a cool Pokemon. I have one, obviously, because I've completed the Pokedex in Scarvi. But I got it traded by a friend. Yeah. They are basically from a future possible timeline, which is why it's a paradox. Are the Iron ones. The other ones, like Brute Bonnet, which is also a paradox, are from the past, the prehistoric ones. In my opinion, every single prehistoric one, bar one, is better than the future versions. The one is literally the Magneton. I'm not a huge fan of what's it called? Sandy Shocks. I'm not a huge fan of Sandy Shocks, which is the Caveman Magnemite. It's not awful. Ground Electric type, which is good typing, but I'm not a huge fan of it myself. And Iron Valiant is amazing as well. I prefer Iron Valiant to Gallade, but I don't prefer it to Gardevoir, so it's a comfy middle spot. But I think Valiant is amazing as a design. I also like Iron Thorns, but I prefer Tyranitar. Yeah, which is a main one. Like I find a lot of the future ones kind of weird versions of original Pokemon. Admittedly, Bundle is way better than Delibird. Let's be honest here. But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of the future paradoxes. I'm a huge fan of all the past paradoxes, though. The past paradoxes are amazing. Okay, now we get to the Treasures of Ruin. We will get to the final paradox last because it's actually behind the Treasures of Ruin in Pokedex. And we will see my favorite paradox Pokemon shine. Okay, so the Treasures of Ruin. I think all 4 Treasures of Ruin are pretty cool. I will say Wo-Chien is by far my least favorite, though. He's fine. I actually have said before, I prefer Salamence, but I love Roaring Moon. But I mostly love Salamence on nostalgia over Roaring Moon because it's my 4th favorite Pokemon. Roaring Moon really does compare to it. No. I love the Dino Dragon. Yeah, literally. I love it. But will it beat Tyranitar? That's what we're going to come down to. Yeah. Wo-Chien, I'm not the biggest fan. It's definitely my least favorite Treasure of Ruin. I'd say Wo-Chien goes into B tier. You're the only one of these that's going to be in B tier for reference. I think the other 3 are sick. But Wo-Chien is cool. I will give him that. That's all I can give him. He's a fucking brick shit house of a tank. And he's very, very good. But he's not as cool or as good as the other 3. Chen Pao. Chen Pao, also known as Mega Weavile, is what I could genuinely call this thing. This is one of the best designs in Pokemon. Genuinely. Chen Pao is my favorite of the Treasures of Ruin. I love how it looks. I love how it moves in the game. It actually moves like a snow leopard. It's gigantic as well. It's a saber-toothed snow leopard. It's got great design. Their lore is really cool as well. They are literally just like element congealed around a basic cursed item. Chen Pao is my favorite one of them. You are an S tier. You are an S tier, be above Crocodile. Probably behind Moltres though. But I love it. Oh yeah, it's tomorrow's stream. See you around, buddy. Thanks for tuning in. So Chen Pao is awesome. Brilliant Pokemon. Absolutely beautiful design. Beautiful moveset. Absolutely amazing ability. It's great. What can I say? It's my favorite of the Treasures of Ruin. Tinglu, another great one. Genuinely. Probably not S tier though. Solid high A tier though. I love the giant ball moose. It's kind of cool. It's very chunky, which I also love about it. It's a good design. I think it's a good moose design as well, like bovine kind of. It's a good design. It kind of reminds me of an Auroch. Or one of those, what are they called? Megaloceros, the giant deer. I think that's the vibe they were going, and I think it works. Dark ground type as well, another good type. Chi-Yu is also absolutely fucking phenomenal. Ability and how you use it, I prefer to Tinglu, but I prefer Tinglu's vibe. I think Tinglu is a better design, but I really, really like Chi-Yu as well. It's absolutely fucking amazing. Now then. Roaring Moon! Everyone knows I love Roaring Moon. Roaring Moon is one of my favorite Pokemon in Gen 9. In fact, it probably is my favorite Pokemon in Gen 9. Probably. I will say, though, I slightly prefer Tita. I'm gonna be honest. These top three are very, very, very close together, though. Incredibly so. But I love Roaring Moon. But Tita mostly wins specifically as a Dark type. I will say this. As a Dark type, Tita is my boy. I love him. But it's very close between the two that I generally on another day could switch them. Genuinely, it's that close. It's like my top three Pokemon of all time. Garchomp, Charizard, and Rayquaza. Those three regularly change themselves out for which is my favorite. These two also regularly change out. Hydreigon is a very, very, very close bit behind. But I prefer these two a bit more. So yeah. That is the Dark type tier list completed. I wish there was a proper... This is an annoying one. For vibes. Yeah. But genuinely, yes, this is my Dark type tier list. We can... I'm trying to get a full screen. Actually, you know what? Why? Presentation mode? Okay, that's a better show. I like to do a full screen version for the YouTube video. It's going to be a slightly different like setup for this one, but I need to actually show them all. This is my Dark type tier list. As I said, I'm quite happy with this tier list. I love a lot of Dark type Pokemon. As I've said, it's a great type. I'm always happy to use one on the team. They don't always get on the team, but I'm always happy to get one on the team, right? So yeah, I can comfortably say it's fantastic. I absolutely love them. Yeah, Dark type is a great one. It's the soft spot. It's been one of my favorite types since they added it. The Gen 2 types, both of them are very, very highly beloved by me. As I say, Steel is my third favorite, Dark is my fourth favorite. And yeah, Dark type though, I will say, as you can probably guess by this list, very hard carried by its top tiers. Where its bottom tiers are some of the worst Pokemon ever made. So, as I say, I don't think there's been as many bottom tier Pokemon as we've had so far, other than in this one. But yeah. That is all we got for time for today. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Oh, I've just realized my freaking camera's in the way of this one. I will hide it for a moment. There you go. There you can see the full tier list in all its glory. Before I just put it back on in a minute, so I'll give it a moment. Yeah. But yes, that is all we got time for today. I'll be back on tomorrow, probably playing Poker Rogue or something. I don't really know. Whatever I'm feeling tomorrow. I will be quite tired because I do actually have to help my uncle out in the morning. So, I will probably be quite tired, but there will be a stream tomorrow, don't worry. Should be a fun time. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Have a fantastic evening. Keep playing games, keep it on, you guys the best with Twitch. Tune in next week as well, because I will be doing ground types, and you're going to be hearing me sing the praises of Garchomp once more. But yeah, I am looking forward to the ground type tier list as well. It should be a good time. And do tune in for the rest of the week, obviously. As far as I know, the only day we're missing is Thursday this week for my streams, because it's my birthday and I'll be going out for dinner. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Have a fantastic time. Good night. See ya!